Ukraine that Russia has occupied and where it held referendum votes that the international community consider an illegal sham. It comes as there are more questions about suspected sabotage to a critical undersea gas pipeline from Russia to Germany. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell has the very latest from Ukraine.
Tonight, just days after we saw Russian forces with assault rifles going door to door, ordering people to vote in Russian-occupied Ukraine, Vladimir Putin poised to take those results and illegally declare those areas parts of Russia. A formal signing ceremony takes place behind the walls of the Kremlin tomorrow. The annexation is stoking fears of a further escalation. Russia warning an attack on the occupied areas would be an attack on Russia. Putin threatening Russia could use nuclear weapons to defend its territory and the newly seized lands.
The United States will never recognize Russia's claims on Ukraine's sovereign territory.
Just days after launching a counter-offensive to push Russia back, President Zelensky telling David he won't give up any of the territory occupied by the Russians.
You will cede no Ukrainian territory. That is not on the table.
No, we will not.
The challenge tonight, how will Ukraine and its Western allies respond?
Ian Pannell joins us now from Kharkiv. Ian, with Putin's move to annex those 4 areas of Ukraine, what does that mean practically on the ground in this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a key question. Technically, in Putin's eyes, in Russia's eyes, those become part of Russian territory and are some senses sacrosanct. In other words, they can't be attacked by Ukrainian forces. But I think for the Ukrainians, they think that the crimes that are being committed by Russia, the atrocities, the displacement, the death, mean that there is no going back, that they can't accept the loss of land. They still see all of that territory firmly as Ukrainian land, and Crimea as well, which of course was annexed by Russia back in 2014-15. So I think what it means practically, on one level, not much difference, but on another level, I think it means a long and bloody battle and no immediate end in sight. The Ukrainians cannot accept the loss of this territory.
And back to those leaks in the Nord Stream gas pipeline, just explain to our viewers the significance of that pipeline to Europe, and is there any sense why it would benefit Russia to sabotage it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, like cui bono, right? Who benefits from this? I mean, firstly, Europe is heavily dependent on Russian gas. It's kind of like an addict who's trying to wean itself off, and we've seen this over the last year. Since the conflict started, there's been a lot of criticism, especially from the US administration, about how heavily dependent Europe had become, and the UK in particular, on Russian gas, on Russian petroleum and Russian energy. We're going to see a spike in prices. We've already seen a spike in prices, but since these leaks emerged, there's been a 40% hike in prices in Europe, and that is causing pain in the pockets of consumers back in the UK and across Europe. And I guess that probably answers the question, why would Russia do that? I mean, it clearly harms Russia because it loses income. On the other hand, the way that the Kremlin operates, it tries to disrupt behind the scenes. And this would perhaps be an example of that, a way of unsettling European governments, European consumers. The truth is, I suspect we'll never really know. But the impact for European consumers is going to be dire, and the impact in Russia is also not going to be great.
And potentially a scenario of cutting off your nose to spite your face here. Ian Pannell in Ukraine for us tonight. Thanks so much, Ian.